Born in the shadow of legacy and mutation, Abyss, real name Nils Styger, is the estranged son of Azazel, the ancient mutant with demonic origins. This makes Abyss the half-brother to the infamous Nightcrawler. From his very beginning, Nils was marked by the unique and unsettling nature of his mutant physiology. His body is composed of a semi-tangible dark void, often appearing as a living rift into nothingness. His physical form includes long dreadlocked tendrils and a haunting hollow torso cavity that serves as a dimensional portal to a literal abyss. Abyss's mutation grants him access to a pocket dimension within himself. This enables him to absorb and trap others within his body. He can also teleport and phase through physical matter. Despite the ominous nature of his abilities, Abyss isn't inherently villainous. He's portrayed more as a mysterious loner, misunderstood and often manipulated due to his unsettling appearance and origins. Raised apart from his father and his more heroic half-brother, Styger has always been caught between worlds. Never quite a monster, but never embraced as a savior. He's been used on as a pawn by anti-mutant forces, experimented on, imprisoned, and even mistaken for a threat by other mutants. However, Abyss has shown flashes of heroism, often questioning the roles he's pushed into, and occasionally takes a stand against the forces that try to use him. One of his earliest and most defining appearances came when he was found imprisoned and experimented on by humans. Here, he was mistaken for a horseman of apocalypse. While shackled and barely conscious, he was treated as a weapon before he ever had a chance to speak. When Banshee and the X Corporation intervened, they discovered Abyss was no servant of Apocalypse, just a mutant too different to be easily understood. And yet, even met with confusion and fear, Abyss never lashed out blindly. Instead, he absorbed one of his captors into his chest dimension, not to kill, but to trap and contain. It was a chilling but deliberate act of restraint, one that made it clear that he wasn't the monster they assumed. Abyss later stood alongside more traditional X-Men allies during a volatile anti-mutant riot. While many assumed he'd fade into the backdrop, Abyss proved unexpectedly capable in a support role, using his powers to nullify threats by swallowing dangerous individuals whole and removing them from the battlefield without a single death. It was precise, terrifying, but also effective. The portal in his chest, a terrifying sight, became a non-lethal tool of de-escalation. He didn't ask to be a hero, but in that moment, he behaved like one. Abyss eventually had a brief encounter with his half-brother Nightcrawler. Their meeting wasn't full of dramatic revelations or reconciliation. It was uncomfortable, stilted, and emotionally raw. Two sons of Azazel, one raised in faith and the other in abandonment. They didn't embrace, and they didn't fight either. They looked at each other, really looked, and for a moment, that gaze said more than any confrontation could. It was an understanding forged in silence, a shared loneliness and recognition that neither fit into the world cleanly. Abyss mysteriously disappeared into his own void with no clear explanation. Whether trapped, lost, or choosing solitude, no one knows. His powers were unpredictable, his mind often distant, and the dimension within him possibly sentient. But that disappearance became one of his most potent acts. Abyss returned to the nothingness from which he was named, leaving behind a question rather than a legacy. Abyss remains one of the most enigmatic figures in the tapestry of mutant kind, a being shaped by fear, isolation, and the weight of assumptions. His fleeting presence is as much of it is a narrative choice than it is a reflection of his core essence. His appearances may have been intentionally sparse, brief, but also heavy, because his powers, his origins, his demeanor, they don't lend themselves easily to traditional superhero storytelling. He's unsettling, not because he threatens others, but because he challenges what it means to be a mutant, to be a human, to be whole even. There's an inherent tragedy to him, a being misunderstood by others and possibly by himself, existing more as a question than an answer. In that way, his scarcity reinforces his impact. He arrives like a ripple in the psychic fabric of a story, and just as suddenly he's gone. Whether he was swallowed by the very darkness he carries, or he's simply biding his time in the folds of forgotten dimensions, Abyss leaves behind a haunting truth that not every story fits a clear arc, and not every mutant is meant to be understood. His presence lingers like a cold draft at the edge of perception, reminding us that even the deepest voids aren't empty, they're just simply waiting to be seen.